Welcome back to the channel. Let's break down today's NHL slate and where the betting value is.
This matchup sets up as a classic spot where the market slightly undervalues the more complete road team. Washington is priced as a narrow home favorite in some books, while Dallas is available in the plus 110 to plus 145 range on the money line depending on market, despite holding stronger season-long indicators and a more stable performance profile. Dallas enters this game sitting third in the Western Conference with 57 points through 41 games. Their plus 30 goal differential stands out, reflecting a well-balanced roster that scores consistently while limiting high danger chances against. That profile travels well, and it explains why Dallas has remained firmly in the West's top tier despite heavy competition from teams like Colorado and Minnesota. Every road win continues to solidify their playoff positioning, which adds tangible motivation in this spot. Washington, meanwhile, sits 7th in the Eastern Conference with 48 points after 42 games. While the Capitals remain in the playoff mix, their margin for error is thinner and their underlying stability lags behind Dallas. A plus 14 goal differential is respectable, but it does not match the efficiency or consistency shown by the Stars. Against upper-tier Western teams, Washington has struggled to maintain defensive structure for a full 60 minutes. Recent form further separates these teams. Dallas has won 3 of its last 5 games, scoring 24 goals in that span while allowing just 15. Their shooting efficiency sits around 18% over that stretch, well above league average, and their defense has held opponents under 3 goals in 4 of those 5 contests. That combination is especially valuable on the road, where Dallas is comfortable dictating pace rather than trading chances. Washington's last 5 games tell a different story. The Capitals have gone 2-3, scoring 15 goals but allowing 18, with defensive breakdowns heavily concentrated in their losses. They frequently start games slowly, winning just 38% of first periods this season. That weakness is particularly relevant here, as Dallas does much of its damage in the middle frame and often builds early control before tightening defensively. Star power exists on both sides, but the matchup favors Dallas. Washington relies heavily on Alexander Ovechkin and Tom Wilson for offensive bursts, yet their combined production drops against teams with structured defensive systems. Dallas, by contrast, spreads scoring across multiple lines and does most of its damage during the second period, where they generate roughly 40% of their goals and convert on the power play at an efficient rate. Head-to-head trends reinforce this angle. Dallas has scored at least 2 goals in 4 of the last 5 meetings, and while totals often clear modest thresholds like 3.5, these games rarely turn into uncontrolled shootouts. The Stars consistently control the middle of the game, winning roughly 60% of recent matchups through better puck management and special teams execution. From a tactical standpoint, Dallas plays a disciplined, balanced style that limits Washington's reliance on individual plays. The Capitals tend to push hardest in the third period, but Dallas is one of the league's more reliable teams in overtime and late-game situations, reducing Washington's chances of salvaging points if they trail. When pricing, form, matchup dynamics, and historical trends are combined, Dallas emerges as the sharper side. The market implies a near coin flip, but the underlying numbers suggest the Stars win this matchup more often than the current line indicates. Primary bet, Dallas Stars money line, plus 110 to plus 145. At odds in this range, the implied probability sits between roughly 41% and 48% depending on the book. Based on Dallas's season-long efficiency, superior goal differential, and matchup advantages in pace control and second-period scoring, their true win probability projects closer to 52 to 54%. That gap creates a measurable edge, especially given Dallas's consistency against mid-tier Eastern opponents. Secondary bet, total goals over 3.5, around minus 125. This line implies roughly a 55 to 56% probability. Recent head-to-head meetings have cleared 3.5 goals in 4 of the last 5 games, and both teams generate enough offense to reach this number without requiring a high-variance shootout. Dallas's efficient finishing combined with Washington's defensive lapses supports value on the over. Supporting bet, both teams to score in the second period, plus 120 to plus 130. At these odds, the implied probability is approximately 43 to 45%. Dallas scores 40% of its goals in the second period, while Washington remains productive at home during that frame, despite overall inconsistency. Market pricing does not fully account for how concentrated Dallas's offense is in the middle period. Overall value summary, across all markets, the strongest edge remains on the Dallas money line, with an estimated advantage of 5 to 7% versus market expectation. Supporting totals and period-based props align with historical and tactical trends, reinforcing the core position rather than replacing it. This matchup between the Montreal Canadiens and Calgary Flames sets up as a classic spot where market perception hasn't fully caught up with recent performance trends. Calgary enters this road game priced as a slight underdog, around plus 175 on the money line, while Montreal is receiving home ice respect despite ongoing defensive issues at the Bell Center. Calgary comes into January in strong overall form, winning 8 of its last 11 games and avoiding regulation losses in 4 straight. While much of the recent dominance has come at home, the Flames have quietly translated that momentum to the road by leaning into their offensive depth. They've scored at least 3 goals in 7 of their last 10 away games, driven not only by their top line, but also meaningful contributions from the bottom 6. Captain Mikael Backlund is in the middle of a 5-game point streak with 8 total points, anchoring a balanced forward group that has been difficult to match physically and structurally. Ryan Lomberg's recent scoring from the 4th line highlights Calgary's depth advantage, which becomes especially relevant late in games and across periods. In goal, the Flames' tandem has posted a combined .912 save percentage over the last 5 games, a stabilizing factor against a Montreal offense that relies heavily on volume and power play efficiency. Montreal's position in the top 5 of the Eastern Conference is built primarily on special teams and offensive output. The Canadiens rank among the league's best in power play conversion, scoring on over 22% of home opportunities and nearly 28% on the road. Nick Suzuki, Juraj Slafkovsky, and Ivan Demidov continue to drive scoring, and Montreal has scored at least 3 goals in 6 of its last 7 games. However, the underlying concern remains defensive structure, particularly at home. Montreal has dropped 4 of its last 6 games at the Bell Center and has just 1 win in its last 5 home appearances. Penalty killing has slipped to 22nd in the league, and recent losses have exposed breakdowns when protecting leads. Shot suppression is also an issue, with Montreal allowing higher quality chances while converting at an unsustainably high shooting percentage in recent wins. From a metric standpoint, Calgary holds the edge in shot volume at 31.8 per game, compared to Montreal's 28.4, and the Flames' expected goals on the road sit at 3.2, higher than Montreal's home XG of 2.9. Calgary also performs exceptionally well after the second period, winning 60% of games when leading or tied through 40 minutes, an important situational edge given Montreal's late-game volatility. While recent head-to-head history favors the home side, Calgary already snapped that trend with a road win last season and matches up well tactically, especially in the second period where they average 1.8 goals. With Montreal leaning heavily on the power play and Calgary owning one of the stronger road penalty kills at 87.5%, this shapes up as a high-event game where the underdog is priced too generously. Betting recommendations. Primary bet. Calgary Flames money line, plus 175. At plus 175, the implied probability sits at approximately 36.4%. Internal modeling and recent performance trends project Calgary closer to a 55% win probability in this matchup. That creates a clear pricing inefficiency driven by Montreal's inflated home perception. Calgary's 8-3 run, defensive stability in net, and superior 5-on-5 play provide tangible edge against a Canadiens team that has struggled to close games at home. Secondary bet, total goals over 5.5. At minus 118, the implied probability is 54.1%. Given Calgary's tendency to score 3 or more on the road and Montreal's elite power play efficiency at home, this game profiles as a 6-goal-plus environment. The average total in recent head-to-head meetings sits above 6.0 goals, reinforcing the over as a strong supporting angle. Supporting bet. Calgary team total over 2.5. At minus 105, the implied probability is 51.2%. Calgary has cleared this number in 7 of its last 10 road games and faces a Montreal defense allowing elevated shot quality at home. With scoring coming from all 4 lines, this number remains undervalued. Situational add-on. Calgary second period team total over 1.5. At plus 110, the implied probability is 47.6%, while Calgary's second period scoring profile suggests closer to 55%. The Flames consistently exploit mid-game defensive lapses, making this a high-value situational play. Value summary. Overall edge on the primary money line is estimated at 18 to 19% above market expectation. Optimal bankroll allocation is 5 to 7% on the Calgary money line, with lighter exposure on totals to balance variance.